So I just watched My Little Pony Make Your Mark Chapter 6, and predictably it's kind of a trash fire, and I didn't want it to be or anything, but as you might be expecting, given they had to wrap up every disparate plot element in just 3 episodes, everything feels incredibly rushed. They're desperately drawing attention to past events to try and establish a sense of continuity or coherency that just isn't there. Like, they just left the Dragonlands recently, they're heading back. This time the dragons just appear from nowhere off screen to instantly greet them, even though they were slumbering previously. The way the magical slumber they were under works is poorly explained. The exact mechanics of it are laughable. Like, they woke up because Opaline appeared, but they might sleep again because Opaline's making them sleepy. This is what we were waiting for. Also, these really, really ugly dragons, they're copy-pasted, they're grotesque, they just exist to rush through exposition, and none of the main 5 react to them in fun or engaging ways, and Pip just exists to be mad because her phone won't work, which she had a character arc where she unplugged. Did they forget that? That was in the last chapter. Anyway, the dragons are sad because Opaline's powerful and wants to steal their magic and friends, and Sunny gives, like, the least convincing, most ham-fisted speech about how they're strong because they're dragons, which feels wrong, especially in My Little Pony. Spike also drops a ton of really weird exposition about there being a land of alicorns, and there's obnoxious fan service, but conveniently Spike forgot all of the fan service. He's like, oh, I remember Twilight, but that's it. I just remember her name. Sorry, everyone. Sorry, I know you wanted more fan service, but all I remember is Twilight's name. They're also just like constantly desperately dumping new ideas that don't fit in with the old ones to try and patch things up, but it makes everything worse. Opaline, when she does appear and start enacting her plan in these last 3 episodes, is so far removed from what G5 was supposed to be, what G4 was, what My Little Pony is in general. Like, she's just evil for the sake of being evil. She has a whole song about it. She has no reason for what she's doing. There's no compassion anywhere. They hinted at reasons earlier, and her character wasn't this one note before, but now it is, I guess, just because. She's just evil because she's evil. She wants power because she wants power. She also apparently stole so many more cutie marks off screen when we weren't looking, and her evil plan is basically in fast forward during the finale. Everything is going at light speed, the characters are all making the worst decisions, arriving at completely nonsensical conclusions so we can speed this up. It was clearly meant to be played out over a longer period of time, but Hasbro didn't give them the time or the budget, and the way they tie in previous plot elements is completely laughable. It's just the worst of everything. Like, even the humor, the jokes go on so crazy long for no reason. Instead of genuine heart, they deliver meaningless platitudes with full conviction. There's pointless, badly choreographed action sequences. None of the characters get to play to their strengths or even act like themselves. Sunny gets it the worst. She just stands still in one place, being boring and useless, and talking about how bad things are. And Izzy talks about how she's creative, but all she does is throw stuff. Pip sings once. Zip doesn't get to do anything, basically. They also constantly misuse the phrase hoof to heart. That used to mean something. You know, back in A New Generation, that meant something. It meant you were standing with your community for something greater. That we all have to work together to make this world a world worth living in. But they just drop it everywhere. They basically completely erase G5's identity to replace it with random, nonsensical G4 fan service. They say friendship is magic more than once, which I think they said once in the actual Friendship is Magic series. It's so bizarre, so poorly handled. It's just a mismatch of various incongruous elements. It made my nerves itchy. I hated watching it, and I'm not sure I could imagine a worse conclusion to G5 than this. Like, G5 was set up to be something special. A New Generation had its own themes, its own ideas. It was about community, it was about multiculturalism, it was about standing up for everyone's rights together. It was a break from the heavily individualist-focused G4, and it had places to go, so many places, and strong characters, but it was taken away from the original staff because they had to move it to a new studio, and they consistently had no clue what they were doing with it, so they kept adding new strange ideas until we just wound up with a generic villain who did evil for evil's sake, which is the least G5 thing of all. And it doesn't, at the end, it doesn't really seem like they won through the power of friendship, as Sunny's saying. It seems like they just won because being happy is better than being mean. Being happy gives you more power than meanness does. That's basically the conclusion, as I understand it. It's dreadful. Nothing makes any sense. I hated it. But also, I loved it because of how bad it was. Like, I'm kind of glad Chapter 6 is over, but oh boy, did they go out with a bang in the worst way. Hopefully Secrets of Starlight is better. I imagine it's not too related, so perhaps it will be. But yeah, wow. Oh boy, wow.